Hello, dears, and welcome. Thank you all for joining me and for subscribing. That was quite the weekend as my channel just sort of ticked up and up and up and up in subscribers. Welcome to you all. Eventually, perhaps I'll learn how to say that in Kazakh, and then it will be thematically appropriate, even though, so just for full disclosure, I speak a tiny bit of a bunch of different languages, like, and I'm talking like 10 or 15 words maybe. So I'm leaning heavily on Google Translate for all the comments, but so many different languages. It's really cool to see somebody with such a global appeal and such a broad audience, because I love hearing from people in all different parts of the world. So hello to all of you. I am doing one that was requested a bunch of times. I got a bunch of requests for a bunch of different songs, and I'm gonna probably put together a poll so that you can vote for which ones you want me to do next. But this one, Sinful Passion, and Stranger were probably the two most requested, so I think those are gonna be the two that I do next. I'll probably do another one this week. I'm probably only gonna do one or two, maybe three in a week, depending on what you all want. But I'm going to be doing all my other music and stuff too. So don't get mad or disappointed if a day goes by and there's not a new one, because I'm not going to become just a DIMASH channel. I'm going to do plenty, but I have other musical tastes, and I like to share those with y'all. So with all that out of the way, we're doing Sinful Passion, the Moscow fan cam. This video was requested specifically, so hopefully it doesn't get caught by the censors. Before I get into it, remember, I am not a professional. I did sing in a choir, and I did grow up in an a cappella tradition, 4-part harmony, reading music, so I can do some of the vocal stuff. But, you know, what he's doing is a different stratosphere from what I am capable of. Particularly because I'm a bass, if you couldn't tell. But I'm not a professional, so please don't expect me to be commenting on like microtones, and there are some things that I know and mostly I don't. So just bear that in mind. And don't be a dick. I would say the dears have been very, very friendly, very effusive, very informative. And I appreciate you all very much for that. I have had basically no issues with any of the comments I've gotten in the last few days. But for those of you who are new or who, you know, maybe aren't DIMASH fans from the jump, just don't be an asshole. That's all I really request. You know, if you have thoughts, feel free to put them in the comments. I'm happy to read them, happy to respond to them and engage in conversation, but just, you know, don't be an asshole. That's kind of rule of thumb here. With that out of the way, this is Sinful Passion by DIMASH. I have not heard this yet, so this is my first playthrough. We'll sit through it together. Let's get right into it. Here we go. I like that jacket.
Если б знала ты, что мне нужна только ты одна.
No closed captions, so.
Ливни долгие лили, были ночи без сна. Но в стуже сердце озарила, как весна, только ты одна. Тайне, тайне, долгим огнем пылать во мгле мне на свет. Дай мне, дай
Taking out the in-ears.
Ночью и днем сгорать в костре грешной страсти. Ночь сомкнула ресницы, и вокруг тишина. Забыты звуки, руки, лица, мне нужна только ты одна. Околдован тобою, выпью зелье до дна, и ты вернешь меня из бездны в этот мир, только ты одна. Дай мне тонким огнем пылать во мне и в ненастье. Дай мне ночью и днем сгорать в костре грешной страсти.
So, okay, I mean, pretty incredible, right? We'll just start there. A couple things that I actually do know about music that I will mention. One, and people have been giving me all kinds of background information in the comments. So, like, you know, he's been doing this since he was 5. He's been taking professional voice lessons. His parents are both professionals. And you can tell, I mean, you can see some of the, you know, the techniques that you learn in voice lessons, right? The way you shape your mouth and some of that stuff, the projection. But as I mentioned in the first one, and as I want to sort of just be clear about, thousands of hours of work, certainly, right? He has polished and polished and polished and trained and trained and trained. And that has paid off significantly. But also, he is born with an ability. He's born with absolute pitch, right? That's not something you can teach. Imagine, just for way of comparison, imagine the difference between someone who's 7 feet tall and someone who's 5'8", right? Now, they can both get good at basketball, right? They can both practice, they can both train really hard, and they can get good at it. And if the 7-footer doesn't practice, he might never be good. He might never develop the skills required to use the height to his advantage. But the 7-footer has a built-in advantage in that sport that the person who's 5'8" does not have. No matter how much they practice, they'll never be 7 feet tall. And that's how I would sort of explain the gift that DIMASH has, right? No matter how good or how hard people work, there are just some things that you can't train. And you can't train his pitch. He has incredible breath control. The trills and stuff that he was doing were really, really beautiful and very tightly controlled. His ability to transition from the head voice to the chest voice, and his projection, right? Because he's not just getting louder. He's not just shouting or screaming when he's doing. There are a couple moments fairly early on in the song when he's transitioning up. He's not shouting it. It's coming from your chest, right? Which is where it's supposed to come from. You sing from your diaphragm to project. And that's hard to do, especially as you're moving up in pitch. And he just has that. Very, very impressive. I don't know what language this was in, frankly. There's no subtitles. This was in Moscow, so maybe it's a Russian song. But I don't know. I don't speak any Slavic languages, so I'm sure somebody will put it in the comments. But yeah, that was pretty amazing. Good recommendation, everybody. I think the next one from DIMASH that I'm going to do is going to be Stranger. That one has been also requested a ton of times. So that one's probably coming next. And from there, we'll work it out. Hopefully I'll be able to get a poll up so you all can have some input and let me know which one you prefer me to do next. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for sticking around. Your number one Val Kilmer lookalike reviewer. And have a good day, everybody. Stay safe out there. Be nice to each other. And drink lots of water.